this is fear that arouses spirituality. Where might have a chance to learn Dhamma individually. Now, since you have this wonderful human life, make the best use of that human life to learn more and more Dhamma and put them into practice. When you put Dhamma into practice, you will be born again and again with good Kalyana Mitra, good friend who can share Dhamma with you. Only security for having Dhamma in future is to practice Dhamma right now. This is a very, very good opportunity. In fact, this I don't think any time in human history that so many people all over the world meditate. Many people, not everyone, meditate and pray, go to churches, synagogues, mosques, and as much as they can, wherever they can meet. In some places, they cannot go to churches, they cannot meet more than 8 people, and so on. There are a lot of restrictions for the good of everybody. And we understand that, we must respect that. At the same time, keep in your heart and mind that this is an opportunity for us to practice Dhamma. Think of Dhamma, talk of Dhamma, practice Dhamma, learn Dhamma, so your entire life is a very wonderful one entity with Dhamma. When you have this practice, this confidence, you certainly will be assured that you will have another more chances to listen to Dhamma until you attain full liberation. Don't worry, you continue listening to Dhamma, discussing Dhamma, practicing Dhamma. Buddha said, listening to Dhamma, discussing Dhamma at opportune moment is a blessing. This is the blessing. So you will have a blessing to live this life in peace and to have other future lives in peace, learning Dhamma, practicing Dhamma. Don't worry, you continue, don't have fear. Any other question? Okay. Yes, Dhammo have rakkati dhammachari chattang mahantang yatha vasakale esani sangso dhamme sutinne na duggatin gacchati dhammachari, said the Buddha. One who carries an umbrella is protected by the umbrella. Similarly, one who carries Dhamma in practice will be protected by the Dhamma. This is a very beautiful saying. When you take an umbrella, go out in rain and come back and throw it away into a corner and let it be eaten by mice and insects and so forth, you can never use that umbrella again. Similarly, if you don't practice Dhamma and listen from one ear and let it go through the other ear and never practice, that Dhamma will not help you. But just like when you come home with umbrella, that wet umbrella, you dry it, fold it, and put in a proper place. Next time you can use that umbrella. Similarly, when you learn Dhamma, remember it, think about it, practice it again and again. That person will be secured and will not have any reason to have fear.
Okay.
Okay, now time for us to sit and practice. If others uh, join, let them join until we, and let them join anytime they want. And let us recite, and you listen, I recite the same wonderful metta discourse that Buddha has so compassionately delivered for the benefit, well-being and happiness of all living beings. This is the time for us to practice it. This is the time we all practice this metta in unison together as a one entity, one unit for the benefit of all those who are in suffering. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless living friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. These are wonderful, healing, boundless thought. This has healing property. We keep this metta in our mind and protect it very much like a mother protects her own only child. Protect metta. You will be benefited by our own metta behavior. This is the time for us to show our compassion, our friendliness, our openness, opening our heart and mind for all those who are suffering. With this, let us take few deep breaths. Notice the breath very strictly, exclusively, and paying attention to the breath, whether it is long, short, and coming, hearing, the beginning, middle, and end, a very brief pause, and then appearing and disappearing. In between appearing and disappearing, there is a brief pause which also appears and disappears. none of them. The breath, feelings, perceptions, attention, thoughts, consciousness, all are changing together simultaneously all the time. We notice these changes without verbalizing, conceptualizing, thinking of any notions. Just pay attention to see exactly as they happen. Then we gain a degree of concentration by overcoming our hindrances. When we pay total, undivided, mindful attention and seeing rising and falling, appearing and disappearing, and so forth of all aggregates, then hindrances don't have room to enter the mind. We can ward them off, put them away. At that time, we gain concentration. These are the words, but the realization of the meaning of these words comes only when we put this into practice. So let us spend the rest of the time practicing. Dukkha patta cha niddukkha bhaya patta cha nibhaya soka patta cha nisoka hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all living beings. This is a very good moment for us to wish all living beings together as a group or one in one voice, one thought, one mind. We all generate this wonderful, friendly metta thoughts and wish all of them all over the world to be free from afflictions, pain and suffering, and have solace and comfort and peace. With this, we end this practice of sitting meditation. You can ask me questions. I try to answer them as much as I can and then end the session. Now the floor is open to people to ask me questions.
Bhante, the same person that asked you about fear that they're having about finding the Dhamma in future lives or future existence, um, this person would like you to tell us a bit more about how Dhamma protects us.
Dhamma protects us only when we practice it. Dhamma doesn't have any magic to protect anybody, but it has a power of protecting everybody who follow the Dhamma. So you you will be assured that you are really assured that Dhamma will not bring you to woeful state of existence if you honestly continue to practice Dhamma. Uh, this Dhamma is visible in this very life, and this Dhamma invites us. This Dhamma leads us forward to that same goal, that is liberation. And each and every wise individual can see this Dhamma. And therefore, you don't have to worry about how the Dhamma protects you if you continue to practice it. Only if you negligent, not paying attention to Dhamma, and do not live in accordance with the Dhamma, then you have reason to worry and have fear. But if you practice Dhamma, for instance, practice morality, at least 5 precepts as a lay person, and practice meditation, both concentration and mindfulness, as much as you can. Keep your mind free from greed, hatred, and delusion. Practice metta, compassion, be honest, and think, how can I be free from greed, hatred, and delusion? Whenever any negative state of mind arises, be aware of it and let it go. That way you train yourself to stay on the track, and then you don't have to worry. Keep practicing. There is no any other magic. Although we say Dhamman saranam gacchami, it simply doesn't mean that I take refuge in the Dhamma, thinking that Dhamma will protect me even without practicing. Taking refuge in the Dhamma is we take Dhamma as our guide, as our life principle, as our uh, life, and live accordance with the Dhamma. Then that Dhamma will definitely protect you.
Thank you, Bhante. Another question here. Would like to know more on metta. I understand that by giving metta, I am primarily benefiting myself, and in general benefiting everyone. But how does it help someone who has lost a job or has the virus? Should I not be out there helping rather than just sitting in the comfort of my cushion and meditating?
I think that's a very good question. We all have to think, yes, while sitting on the cushion, we wish them to be free, but at the same time, uh, we must do whatever we can to uh, help others, meaning follow all the guidelines that professionals put out through media, and follow very strictly, even with some discomfort for a short period of time. If everybody follows those instructions, they are practicing metta because they don't want this uh, virus spread anywhere. We have to let it subside, disappear, vanish from earth totally, completely, never to return again. So we, each and every one of us, 7, 8 billion people follow the guidelines, they can wipe it out from the earth. That is the metta practice. In our thoughts, words, and deeds. Or if you are a professional caregiver, health worker, you protect yourself using all the protective measures and help as much as you can those who are afflicted uh, in talking to them, in whatever you can within your capacity do to help them. You do it honestly and sincerely. That is metta practice. Uh, Metta, as we recited in the discourse, whether sitting, standing, walking, lying down, and whenever we are awake, can practice. This metta is a practical thing, not limited to thoughts, but begin with the thought. When we have the thought, we express it in words and deeds. But of course, if we are not a professional person, skilled person, trained person, you can not go out and help. But you can protect yourself not to let this virus come to you and going from you to others, wearing mask and all other garments and so forth, whatever they have health professionals have put out and recommended, we follow them. If you are wealthy enough to supply food, try to deliver food to those who are stranded and locked in their own homes. If you have an access to medicine, prescribed medicine, try to supply them to them in a safe way. So forth, there are many ways to practice metta, especially this time. We cannot travel from one country to another, one state to another by plane and so forth, but they are all restricted purely because of this virus, and we have to abide by those regulations and do whatever we can within our limited capacity. And that is a metta practice. Whatever you do it with whole heart, sincere heart, with the wish, let my thought, word, this deed help these people, victims of this virus. Okay?
Bhante, I have a question related to that. I just read a sutta, I think yesterday, where the Buddha says something to the effect of a mind liberated by metta is greater than giving, I think, food to all of these people. Are you familiar off the top of your head?
Yes, yes. Achara sangatmatam pecheveku mettan chittang bhaveti. He said in Anguttara Nikaya, if you clean your mind with metta, then that is praiseworthy if monks and nuns who depend on others practice metta even for a fraction of a second, he would be free from debt to people. Those who depend on people have a great obligation and they are indebted to them. And if they practice metta even for a fraction of a second, they are free from that debt. For instance, when they eat, they must think, let every grain of this rice, every bit of this bread, every drop of this milk help me to help these people. If I misbehave, if I do something wrong, I will not help these people to relieve their mind from suffering. So they must wear their robes, use food, medicine, shelter, with the thought of helping those who supply this what you call requisites to the monastic, and that they can do with metta. So metta in itself is so powerful because that will get rid of your hatred. And that happens when you practice metta, and in the state of that mind, you remove your hatred. Hatred is one of the three cardinal defilements, three main defilements in our mind: greed, hatred, and delusion. To overcome greed, we have to be very open and generous, let go of our clinging. To overcome hatred, we have to practice metta. To overcome delusion, we have to practice insight, mindfulness. So, and therefore, it is very true that Buddha said that if one practice metta even for a fraction of a second, that means when you practice metta, you clean your mind and you abstain from doing wrong things that will hurt the people. When you do something to hurt people, then you are not practicing metta. Sometimes it appears in certain situations you want to protect large amount of people. By doing so, you may do certain things which may inadvertently hurt somebody, but your intention is not to hurt anybody. So that is how we have to practice metta.
Thank you, Bhante. This question is about detachment. I was reading a book today on mindfulness-based stress reduction and was confused by a statement that asserted that mindfulness isn't about detachment. I thought that looking into our clinging and letting go was part of the practice. Maybe it's just semantic, but isn't non-clinging the same as learning how to detach?
Yes, actually, in ultimate sense, letting go is the end of mindfulness practice, meaning non-clinging, non-attachment is the main thrust in mindfulness or personal practice. And Buddha said in Four Noble Truths, the cause of suffering is greed, desire. If you keep greed and want to get rid of suffering, that's not going to work. We have to let go of greed in order to be free from suffering. And that is what we do in Vipassana meditation. Now, sometimes it is difficult for people to do. This is why the Buddha said he is teaching the Dhamma that goes against the current, going against the current. or against the grain. Going with the grain is very easy. Just follow the crowd and do whatever everybody else does. That way you cannot be free from suffering. Patisotagami, Buddha's teaching is Patisotagami, going against the current. Many great majority of people go with the current. Only very few appakate manusesu yajana paragamino athayang itara pajatir mevanu dhavati. Only very few individuals will cross the flood of greed. Others will simply roam on the bank here and there, walk back and forth, not being able to cross the flood of greed and so forth. So, Buddha's advice is to practice metta, mindfulness, concentration to get rid of our clinging, craving, attachment, greed, desire, and so on. This may not happen very quickly. We have to understand that it is very difficult. It appears sometimes for some people to be impossible. It appears to be impossible. But Buddha never told us anything that we cannot do. Buddha mentioned it many times, because I don't tell you anything that you cannot do. You can do it with diligence, effort, mindfulness, constant practice, and honesty and sincerity. You have to be honest and sincere with yourself, not we are trying to say something to please others or do some just to please others. We do things to get rid of our suffering and liberate us from suffering. I think this may be enough.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you heard the gong. I heard the gong, and it is our dharna lunch time, and we have to end. And see you all this evening at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu,
Thank you
sadhu.
very much.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Bhante,
Bhante.
sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.